This is the homework helper for Chapter 11, Section 1 in the 7th grade workbook, Probability. So in the top part, 1 through 6, the directions are the same. We're supposed to determine whether each event is impossible, unlikely as not, likely, or certain. So as you saw in the instruction in class today, those probabilities are in order from 0, meaning there's no chance of that happening, which would be impossible, all the way up to 1, which is what certain means, or the equivalent of 100%, something absolutely will happen. As likely as not would be 50-50, so if you want to lay some numbers on this then, that means unlikely would be something around 25%, likely would be something around 75%. We're supposed to use those words to describe the probability of the events happening listed in 1 through 6. So number 1 says rolling an even number on a number cube labeled 1 through 6. Well, if we're talking about a standard die, 2, 4, and 6 are my even numbers. 1, 3, and 5 are my things on there that are not even numbers. Well, there's 3 winners and 3 losers there. 3 even numbers and 3 things that aren't even numbers. So that means I have the 50-50 chance there. So number 1 we're going to respond with as likely as not because it's a 50-50 chance. If we're talking about number 2, picking a card with a vowel on it from a box of cards in which each letter of the alphabet is written on a card. Well, there are some vowels in the alphabet, but there's definitely a lot more consonants. So here, if we're talking about the chance of getting vowels versus the other things, the consonants, here, yes, can I get a vowel? Absolutely, yes, I can get a vowel. Is it the most likely thing? No. Is it even a 50-50 chance? No. There's a lot more consonants than there are vowels. So that means here we're going to answer unlikely. It can happen, but there's more of the other than there are vowels. Spinning a number greater than 2 on a spinner numbered with 10 equal sections marked 1 through 10. So this is the reverse of the last question. If I'm trying to get something bigger than 2, I can get 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. So that's 8 different options there that make me a winner. The only 2 things that make me a loser are 1 and 2. Well, if there's 8 things that make me a winner and 2 things that make me a loser, that's a pretty good chance of that happening. There's 8 winners there. So that means that one's going to come up to be likely. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the questions down here at the bottom of the page now. Number 7, a bag contains 3 green, 7 blue, and 2 black marbles. The probability of randomly picking a green marble is 1 out of 4. What is the probability of not picking a green marble? So when we're talking about probabilities here, we're talking about complements in this question because the way they've written this question very cleverly describes the only 2 things that can happen here. It's either going to happen, I'm going to get green, or I'm not going to get green. That describes the only things that can happen there, 100% of the possibilities, in other words, complements. So if the probability of picking a green is 1 out of 4, how many of the times then would I not get green? Well, if green pops up 1 out of the 4 times, that means not green has to pick up the other 3 out of 4 times. So there's a 3 out of 4 chance of not picking a green marble. And we'll finish by taking a look at number 8. A spinner has 8 equal sections numbered 1 through 8. The probability of spinning a number that is greater than or equal to 6 is 3 out of 8. What is the probability of spinning a number that is not greater than or equal to 6? So here, again, we're discussing complements. These are the only 2 things that can happen together. So if the one thing happens 3 out of 8 times, how many times does the other thing happen? Well, that would, of course, be 5 out of 8. Because, again, together, these 2 fractions equal a total 1, or 8 out of 8, which is equivalent to 1.